Hi, good morning, good afternoon. I'm honored to be here today with all of you, and I want to thank you for joining us for our first virtual native storytelling event. My name is Steve Steiny. I am a program manager for the National American Indian Alaska Native Addiction Technology Transfer Center, funded by SAMHSA. My colleague, Kate Trams and Noah Siegel, respectively, are on the line and will assist with the broadcast today and monitor the chat box. I'm very excited to introduce Ed Edmo, our storyteller for today's event. Ed will be facilitating our session. Ed is a Shoshone Bannock storyteller, poet, short story writer who learned the legends from his father, Edward Edmo Sr. I'll let him tell you more about himself when I've introduced him. Today, we're going to hear two stories from Mr. Edmo, The Bridge of the Gods, and also the Snake. What we'd like to do is in between each story or after the first story stop and have a discussion. Comments are welcome. And then we'll go with the second story. Again, this is our first attempt at offering a native storytelling broadcast. So we are very excited to see how this goes. And so I would ask you all to close out your phones, close other programs, and really enjoy the time we have with Ed Edmo today. At the close of our time today, we will be posting a link to our short evaluation in the chat box. If you're not able to complete this, we will email you at a later time and give you a chance to complete this. We would really appreciate your feedback. It only takes a few minutes and allows us to keep our funders satisfied so that we can continue to provide these no-cost events. Again, we'll be getting in touch with you following today's event to share this survey link if you're not able to complete it at the conclusion of today's broadcast. We will be saving the conversation from the chat and sharing that with everyone, so please be aware when writing. We will, of course, remove any sensitive information from the chat box before saving. You're currently muted. However, you can use the unmute feature at the bottom left portion of your screen or phone. If you have any tech problems, please type those in the chat box and we will try and assist you. Our next event is scheduled for August 5th at 1 p.m. Central. We will do another storytelling event again in 2 weeks' time. So with that, it's my honor to turn the floor over to Ed Edmo, and I believe he is going to introduce himself, and we will also begin with the blessing and the land. So, Ed, the floor is yours. Great to have you here, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Ed Edmo. I'm Shoshone Bannock Nez Perce Yakima, raised about 95 miles east of Slalo Falls. When the cold winter wind was blown down from eastern Oregon through the Columbia River Gorge, I'd be covered up with many quilts made by loving hands by mom, aunties, and grandma. It'd be the crackle of the fire in the wood stove. My father would tell me stories. I thought I was getting stories. I didn't realize it. My culture handed down from generation to generation. I'm going to do a short prayer first. Grandfather, Great Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for the many gifts you give us, our culture. Be with our elders. Be with the veterans, the parents, the children, grandfathers, aunties and uncles, the natural counselors, grandfather. Be with the work with our children, the teachers, school counselors, the police, the court workers, grandfather. Thank you we have food. Thank you we have family, grandfather. Thank you that we make decisions with straight hands and good hearts, grandfather. Thank you, we have food, grandfather. Thank you for giving us the work we're doing to help other people, grandfather. And if we got anything I forgot, I'm a human being. The Calipuya lived from Oregon City down past Eugene. Aphrodite lived around Tualatin. Mary's River was currently Corvallis. Santiam lived on Santiam rivers. The Calipuya proper lived where it's now Eugene, Oregon. Women were chiefs. Did you know that? Yes. If a slave, more like a servant, married to the tribe, they would lose the slave status. Blind people made arrowheads. Everyone had a job to do. They'd see the new moon, said, "We are still here, yet alive. We are still here." They'd speak to the new moon every time they saw it.
How do you?
They used to say that a elder said the land would be all black. They couldn't figure out what he meant. And the pioneers came, they plowed up the Willamette Valley and the earth looked black. I said, this is what the old man said he saw in his dream. So they could see the future also. Thank you. Snake, I need your help. When I go like this, I want you to make noises like a snake. Okay. Now I know you people have mean faces, so put on your mean face and do snake. Everyone. All right. Long time ago, there's a young boy named Snake. Had arms and legs. Snake liked to run races. Snake liked to climb trees. But most of all, Snake liked to jump up the cliffs into sand. If Snake didn't like anything, he would say, brother or sister did something for Snake. Snake didn't like it, he would say, aunt or uncle did something for Snake. Snake didn't like it, he would say, mother or father did something for Snake. Snake didn't like it, he would say, even if his grandma or grandpa did something for Snake, Snake didn't like it, he would say, one day the village went to another village to hunt, trade, and fish. Snake ran the race. He lost. He told the other racers, they fixed him something to eat. Could have been a bowl of salmon eyeball soup. If they didn't like it, they tell the cooks. They told them a story like I'm telling you, a new and different story. If you didn't like it, they tell the storyteller. The same new Indian song, he didn't like it, they tell the singers. The people said, what are we going to do about that snake? He makes us ashamed to go visit. When you visit, you sit still, you eat what you're given, you don't complain, you don't act rude. What are we going to do about that snake? Every time he loses a race, he says, it's something he doesn't like, he says. This is to a story he doesn't like, he says. This is to a song he doesn't like, he says. All the time he says, he makes us so ashamed to go visit, he keeps saying, the night was quiet in the village. Everyone was asleep. The medicine woman snuck into Snake's lodge. She took out a flint knife, cut off Snake's arm, put Indian medicine on him and he healed up. Cut off Snake's leg, put Indian medicine on him and he healed up. Cut off Snake's other leg, put Indian medicine on him and he healed up. Cut off Snake's other arm, put Indian medicine on him and he healed up. Everyone get your hands up. All night that night, the people of the village, they rolled Snake, rolled Snake, rolled Snake, rolled Snake, and sang a magic song. Help me say it, everyone. I need to hear you say, roll Snake, roll Snake, roll Snake, roll Snake, and sing a magic song. Everyone. All night they rolled Snake, roll Snake, roll Snake, roll Snake, and sing a magic song. All night they roll Snake, roll Snake, roll.
Roll Snake.
Rolls.
We lost your audio, Ed. Will you unmute? Oh, still can't hear you, Ed. You're muted.
Sure what happened, Ed? We lost you.
Yes. Did your headphones get disconnected? Can you?
They're right. There we go.
There he's
Rolled
back.
snake. Rolled snake.
Roll snake.
Rolled snake. Rolled
Roll
snake and same
snake.
magic. Rolled snake. Rolled snake. Rolled snake. Rolled snake and same magic son. Boy, it's a long night, huh? All night they rolled snake. Rolled snake.
Roll
Rolled
snake.
snake.
Roll
Rolled snake and
snake.
same magic son. A snake was long and round. You know how snakes look today? And they threw them down and they slithered away beneath people's feet. Snakes, they remember what people did to them long, long time ago. What do snakes say when they see human beings nowadays? Thank you. Tell us to have respect for other people's differences. My father told me that legend, not a little boy. Thank you for listening. We have a discussion now. Yeah.
We would open the floor now.
Yeah.
Anyone would like to comment or their thoughts about this story?
Are others familiar with this story, or maybe you've heard similar stories that have kind of the same either origin story about snakes or same message?
Hi, this is Deborah in Sacramento. Thank you so much for that story. It just made me smile. There's a Shumath story that's very similar. And it's interesting because they did the same thing, except for that what happened is Snake would race the other animals and would always win and brag, and they'd go to the bear chief and complain. So I'm saying this really short and fast because I'm sure other people want to talk, but they did the same thing where they cut off his arms and legs, but they wrapped him in red cloth, and the next morning he woke up as a snake and couldn't run the race anymore because he didn't have any legs. So it reminded me of that, but thank you so much. I just love that story.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Any more comments?
This is Stephanie from San Luis Obispo, California. I just thought it was cool that also embedded in there the way you told the story where you say brother and sister does something that Snake doesn't like, aunties and uncles do things Snake doesn't like, and then when you said even when grandma and grandpa do something, so you show, Snake didn't even respect elders and grandma and grandpa, and that heightened respect for elders.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Welcome, yeah.
Others have thoughts they'd like to share, or feelings, or response to the story?
About 35 years ago, I was in St. Louis Obispo. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah. I worked with the Eugene Ballet Company that performed at the college. I narrated Children of the Raven. We went through 2 Southwest tours, a tour through Montana. In 95, we went to Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, Jordan, Syria, Tunisia. I listened to the newspaper because I was in those places. So we did a world tour with them. They performed my theater, one-man theater called Through Coyote's Eyes, to visit with Ed Edmond in most of those places. So I enjoyed myself. I like St. Louis Obispo, nice little town. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I'm so glad you've been here. Come visit
Yeah.
again.
Good, thank you, yeah.
Ed, I have a comment in the chat box. Susan F. is asking, she'd love to know the medicine that healed Snake when his arms and legs were cut off, and also that she's terrified of snakes, and the story made her feel a little more kindly towards snakes.
I don't know what the medicine was. That's why my dad told me, he said, we're missing on it and healed up. He didn't explain to me what it was. Yeah. There's a legend, a Warm Springs legend, where these men were in Mount Hood. The sky, he could roll water into water balls. They went to the sweat lodge and they rolled water from the creek and they put it over. Then they'd throw water from take the water ball, put them in the sweat lodge. You'd throw them on the rock stone and make them in the sweat lodge. Many people had different kinds of powers in the old days. Different kinds of things that we don't see anymore. They were connected with the spirit world. They could do things like that. So I believe in the old ways. I was healed in a sweat lodge when I was 74. I had Rider syndrome. Walked with crutches, went to sweat lodge in Pendleton, prayed, sang sweat lodge in the sweat lodge. Came out through my crutch away, went to a cane. I believe in the traditional ways. So I believe in that, yeah.
Other comments or questions, or thoughts, feelings for Ed or the group? Might be time for another story, Ed.
Yeah. In 1995, I adapted legend for the Tear of Joy Puppet Theater, which is a national endowment for the arts grant. I went to the office and read, the director had a picture of a puppet, had a Hong Kong beadwork necklace on it. Said, that's a Hong Kong beadwork necklace. He said, that's why we're hiring you to do authentic legends. And also I wrote the play for them. They used puppets and they did a puppet show. And we played at the Winning Star Theater downtown, the Performing Arts Center. You know what else I got out of it? I told them I'd leave my cape, go down to my mid-calf. I worked with a 3-to-1, feel important. I turned the collar up, put a Pelton scarf around me, put wraparound shade, do Indian Elvis karaoke. I have fun with my things. Bit of the gods. Long time ago, there were 2 brothers. One had a bit of land for the people. One's name was Y East, and the other was Clickatot. They were poor, wanted better land. The Great Spirit brought them into sleep to this part of the country. Told one brother, shoot over to the north. Criticized over to the north of Inchuana, which is the Columbia River, as far as everyone was the Klickitat tribes. The Great Spirit showed, why East shoots over to the south, why East shoots arrows to the south of the Willamette River Valley, as far as arrows the Multnomah tribes. The Great Spirit said, I'll build a sign of peace for you. Over in Chihuahua, Tijuana, the Great Spirit built a large land bridge, tall trees, great big rocks on it. It was called the Bridge of the Gods. But no Muslims went across the bridge, hunted and traded fish for a long time, began to quarrel and fight among each other. See, we're not supposed to quarrel and fight, are we? The Great Spirit got angry. He took away the sun. The people pleaded, please give us the sun back or we'll die from the cold. But the one old woman was raped in the mountain. Her name was Lou Witt. She had fire. The Great Spirit said, what do you want if you share your fire with the people? Lou Witt thought. She thought long. She thought long and hard. I want to become young and beautiful. Tomorrow, take your fire to the bridge. The Great Spirit returned the sun to the people. As the sun was rising on each one of the Columbia River, in the middle of the Bridge of the Gods, with a young, beautiful woman watching fire, and the people rejoiced. With fire they could heat the lodges, with fire they could cook, and with fire they could see at night. The two brothers wanted to marry the young, beautiful woman, wanted to bring a gift, wanted to bring another gift, wanted to bring a bigger gift, wanted to bring a bigger and better gift. There was currently fighting. Many people were hurt. The Great Spirit got angry and caused earth to shake. The Bridge of the Gods fell into the river. As punishment, it changed the people of the mountain. Waisha changed to Mount Hood, clicked on Mount Adams, and Lou Witt is Mount St. Helens. And that's how the mountains came to be. That's the Klickitat legend. In 1980, the volcano went off. I used to read poetry for Don Tyree's class at Portland State University. This hippie must have remembered me. Took me down to KBOO, to community radio station here in Portland, and they told the legend. And I read this poem, my NPR poem, Mountain. I don't like that mountain over there. I don't want to walk on that mountain. I don't want to dig holes in his face. I don't want the smoke to get in the way of sunshine, because I do believe that mountains like sunshine too, just like me. I don't want to hurt that mountain over there, because that mountain hasn't hurt me. And besides, I don't want to get that mountain mad at me. They took the tape, put on a jet plane. Next night, they blasted my voice off a satellite on All Things Considered. That's my NPR story, my NPR poem. Thank you. Any questions, any discussion?
Ed, I'm curious why you chose. Oh, sorry. Why did you choose those two stories to share with us? I'm sure you have many to choose from.
The Bridge of the Gods, I adapted for the Tudor Jet Puppet Theater to show people that not only storytelling is told, but you can do theater with it. With children, I do legend and drama, where children make a play out of the legends. Yeah, that's really fun to do with middle school kids. Give each part, put blankets on, have them act out the legend. That's really important, because you're mixing different genres, theater and culture and storytelling, into one performance piece. It's important to make learning a joyful experience, and that's what drama and storytelling do, I believe. I do it with some middle school students. I enjoy it, yeah. And they contacted me, and several years later, I adapted Alaskan Legend for the Tudor Jet Puppet Theater. We played it at the Imago Theater in East Burnside in 8th. And what we did at that time, we took Alaskan Native display in the lobby. My Alaskan friends donated Alaskan outfits. We had knives and things like that. So people donated stuff to send the lobby to show lifestyle. And I adapted the Alaskan Legends, Coyote, Raven steals a light from the chief. Yeah, and Raven still in water. So adapt those legends. So I enjoyed doing drama as legends and drama together. It works really well. The couple are really good and make interesting theater. Thank you.
Other thoughts or comments, or feelings as Ed shared this story?
I'm gonna pull up that chat box. So let me do it.
I keep thinking, going back to the snake story, and I'm wondering if what you think about, are we supposed to forgive the snake or feel bad for the snake now, knowing what the snake's experiences, or are we supposed to learn from what can happen, how we can sort of be rejected, or when we don't show the respect and we don't show an openness to others.
And that's also, yeah, and it's people get and they rectify the program. They make the whole village, everyone roll snake takes an active part in chastising him. Everyone takes an active part. And the mission cuts off his arms, then puts him in, and the whole family gets together and rolls snake. A long time ago, the whole tribe or the whole village would decide on a mission to do something, and they'd all do it. When they went to war, the chiefs would decide on who would go to war. If there's one chief that decided not to go to war, they would not go to war. There's not patriotic, but a society where one person voted against it, everyone else didn't do what they were going to do. I forget what they call it. They had this fancy name for it. How people make decisions, and we as tribal people, the whole community had to decide on what to do. We didn't vote. One person didn't want to do it, and we wouldn't do it. So the individual had a say. Yeah. I'm a political man.
And there's a question from one of the participants. Denise asks, are there songs that also go along with some of the stories? She said, I taught music on the reservation years ago, and it seems there were a lot of songs. There are a lot of brothers' stories from different tribes as well.
I'm not a singer. I don't sing songs. My son says, don't sing. You sound like a broken jukebox. And he sings around dance, sings with Red Lodge and Black Lodge and Young Scouts. He's a good singer, but I don't sing. I haven't seen too many people do songs with stories yet. I've seen people do flute and storytelling, where people play flute behind them. Maybe I'll hire some people to do hand drum behind me and go on stage and do that, but I haven't got to that point yet. Sounds good on stage. Have some backup. I have a flute player I hire. Every I go to Multnomah Falls and tell stories up there. And all day, I spend all day up there telling stories. I hire a flute player. And she backs me up, so that's good. I've done that before, yes.
Another participant, I hope I'm saying her name right, is it Rana? She said, you mentioned earlier that we moved away from the old ways and being connected with our sense of spirituality. How might we find those old ways again, she's asking.
Getting back to the ceremonies, I sweat when I can. I go to Washington, along the river, they have 7 drummer legend. I go to that when I can make it, I go back to the Sweat Lodge. I've attended the Sundance. I'm not a sun dancer. You know, probably if I do choose to dance, I got to be strong enough. I'll go to Fort Hall and dance there where my father danced. So yeah, I'm trying to get back to the traditional ways of ceremonies. That's important for me. Might not work for you, but for me it works. Yeah. And we can all do it. Let's say we're feeling bad. I can go to my office and I can stick in a CD and there's Indian music and calm myself down. I don't have to go to a powwow. I don't have to sit at the drum. I can get modern ways of doing it, or I can go online and pull up a legend and look at it and print it out and learn it that way. So I've been cheating too. Yeah, I've been going online too.
Ed, we have a little time. Is there maybe another story you'd like to share?
Yeah. Okay, get your hands up. My father told me this legend. Porcupine, he'd sharpen his quills and stick them in his tail. Porcupine, he'd sharpen his quills and stick them in his tail. He'd sharpen his quills and stick them in his tail. He'd sharpen his quills and stick them in his tail. Freddie came and said, Porcupine, what are you do today? I'm going to go get me a buffalo. No, you're too small to get a buffalo. I know I'm small. Help me do it. Everyone get your hands up and sharpen the quill. Porcupine, he'd sharpen his quills and stick them in his tail. Sharpen his quills, stick them in his tail. Sharpen his quills, stick them in his tail. Sharpen his quills, stick them in his tail. Freddie came by and said, Porcupine, what are you do today? I'm going to go get me a buffalo. No, you're too slow to get a buffalo. I'm slow. Give me a buffalo. Porcupine, he sharpened his quills and stick them in his tail. Sharpen his quills and stick them in his tail. Sharpen his quills and stick them in his tail. Sharpen his quills and stick them in his tail.
Stick them in his tail.
Now the friend came by and said, Porcupine, what are you do today? I'm going to go get me a buffalo. No, you're too old to get a buffalo. I know I'm old. I'm going to get me a buffalo. Porcupine, he sharpen his quills and stick them in his tail. Sharpen his quills and stick them in his tail. Sharpen his quills and stick them in his tail. Sharpen his quills and stick them in his tail. He finished and he kissed his wife goodbye very, very carefully. Everyone get your hands up. He walked and he walked and he walked. He walked and he walked and he walked. He walked and he walked and he walked. He walked and he walked and he walked east toward Buffalo country, found buffalo dropping on the ground. He touched it all hard. How long you been here? 3 days, the buffalo dropping told him. Which way did the buffalo go? Now this is really Native American cultural important. You have to have lips of authority. Which way did the buffalo go? That way. You have to have lips over there to point with the lips. Like that, everyone. Oh, Porcupine happy. He walked and he walked and he walked. 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 Came to another buffalo drop on the ground. He touched it all hard. How long you been here? 2 days. Which way did the buffalo go? That way. Porcupine happier. He walked and he walked and he walked. 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 Came to another buffalo dropping. All hard, he touched it. How long you been here? 1 day. Which way did the buffalo go, everyone? Porcupine happy. He walked and he walked and he walked. Walked and he walked and he walked. Walked and he walked and he walked. Walked and came to another buffalo dropping. Finger went inside of it. Ooh. How long you been here? Half a day. Which way did the buffalo go? That way. Porcupine happy. He walked and he walked and he walked. He walked and he walked and walked. Walked and he walked and walked. Walked and he walked. Came to another buffalo drop. All damp. Steam was coming off the top of that one. He didn't touch that one. How long you been here? Oh, I just plopped here. Which way did the buffalo go? over the hill and across the river to eat. Porcupine walked and he walked and he walked. Walked and he walked right to the top of the hill. Looked over across the river, whole herd of buffalo eating. Porcupine walked and he walked and he walked. Walked and he walked and walked down to the riverbank. Hollered, "Hey, you buffalo, come here." Old skinny buffalo was eating. "Who, me? No, the young fat one, come here." Old mangy skinny buffalo, so skinny you could count his ribs, and was eating. "Who, me? No, the young fat one, come here." "Who, me?" "Yes," and the buffalo walked through the water. Porcupine says, "I want to ride to the other side." Buffalo said, "Sit on my neck and hang to my horns." Porcupine goes, "No, that wouldn't work. Fly land in your ear. You'd shake your head and it'd fall off." "Well, sit on my rump and hang it to my tail." "No, that won't work. Wave would wash me off." Buffalo thought and thought. Porcupine thought and thought. Everyone get your horns out. Buffalo thought and thought. Porcupine thought and thought. Buffalo thought and thought. Porcupine thought and thought. Everyone. Buffalo thought and thought. Porcupine thought and thought. Buffalo thought and thought. Porcupine thought and thought. Buffalo thought and thought. Porcupine thought and thought. Buffalo thought and thought. Porcupine thought. He said, "I have an idea. Swallow me out of it over his stomach." "Okay." Put down a hot to open his mouth. Porcupine crawled in and swallowed. And there's Porcupine riding in Buffalo's stomach. Get a ride to the other side of the river. How far are we? Halfway through the river. How far are we now? Almost to the riverbank. Find a nice grassy spot. Stop. Spit me up. Porcupine could feel Buffalo stop walking. Shook his quill and Buffalo rolled over and died. Porcupine crawled out and said, "I knew I'd get me a buffalo today." My dad told me that living as a boy. You have to have the determination to get what we want. I did not have the support of my dad or my brother. They thought I should get a real job. They didn't think storytelling was a real job or writing and performing was a real job. You have to have the determination to porcupine, get what we want. And stay away from things that hurt us. People smoke cigarettes, take drugs, drink alcohol, shoot crank, get in bad relationships, lead with a chin, they get in bad relationships and they tell them to not do things to hurt yourself. That's behind that story. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Welcome,
Comments or questions? Watching the chat box, or anyone that want to unmute and make a comment?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to comment.
Okay,
My name's Melissa Syria. I'm in Fort Hall. I work for Shoshone Bannock tribes, and my children are Shoshone Bannock tribal members. And we try to attend things in the community to hear stories. We heard one from, I don't know, you probably know Roseanne Abrahamson, a lovely story that I think of all the time. And I'm wondering how I can expose my children to more stories when not everybody's willing to share. Sometimes people are protective, especially, when my children's family has kind of lost connection to a lot of culture.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I give them my website. Okay, get them to write with. edmo.tripod.com, edmo.tripod.com, edmo.tripod.com. My email is edmo4@gmail.com, edmo4@gmail.com.
I'll put it in the chat box, Ed.
Yeah.
Both
And
the website and your, there we go. Kate's got it. She's fast. She's too fast. Kate's too fast for me. I can't. No one.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Good. Yeah. I can't get the chat box to work. So, yeah. And I have several sites people can visit too. Yeah. On YouTube. Yeah. I'll get that to you, Steve. You can send that to other people. Good, good, good. Thank you.
Other comments? Thank you, Melissa, for sharing that. Other comments or thoughts?
I'm curious what made people come and listen to these stories today. I mean, it's amazing. We have almost 100 people. So what was some motivation to take an hour out of your day in the middle of the day to come listen to these stories? I mean, the theme is culture is prevention, but what does it mean to you, if you want to speak to that?
Not only culture prevention, but it's culture, because our culture is prevention. You know, Sundance is prevention, Swell Lives is prevention, Uweepies are prevention, any traditional ceremony is prevention, any traditional task is prevention, gathering berries, fishing, traditional fishing on scaffold prevention, hunting is prevention. All the things we do is prevention. Yes, I believe it. And a lot of people are waking up to this fact that people are doing this for years, not make up that this is what we've been doing. This is what saves us, I believe. It'll save us.
Other thoughts or comments? Looking at the chat box here, there's some nice comments coming in. Lots of thanks and appreciation headed your way. And
thank you. Yeah, I can't get my chat box to work.
No,
pushing it, nothing happens.
I've been there. Believe me, I've been there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Many are saying thank you.
There's over 100 people on this event.
Yeah, we're just under 100 right now.
Under 100, wow.
Yeah, right at 97 is what I have. That's fantastic.
97. Good. Yeah, biggest Zoom crowd I had. Last week, there were like maybe 12 from international students from Schenectady Community College. I did the same thing, storytelling with them. Yeah, so I'm zooming around. Great, with no electricity, no running water. Now I'm zooming around. Yeah.
Other thoughts? I don't know if, Ed, if we want to have time for one more story before we wrap it up today. I don't know if you have another one you want to share with us or
another one? Sure.
We've got a few minutes, and then I am going to post the survey link again. If you haven't yet, please make sure that you fill that survey out for us.
Okay. This Nupiak legend. People had fire; they could hunt. One time, wind came through the camp, blew up the lodge, flapped the lodge, and a man jumped on a woman, had away with her, put his hand on his mouth so she couldn't scream out. He did it for 3 nights in a row. She was upset. So he asked him, "What should I do?" She said, "Put your hands in the ashes." When he gets on, you rub his back. And when we eat, you can look by firelight, see who was ashes on his back. She did that. Put her hands in the ashes, and he jumped on her. Had rather you rub his back. and she saw it was her brother. She took her, cut her breast off. You like these? When you're on top of me, you can have them. She grabbed a stick of fire, chasing him. Grabbed a stick of fire, backpedaling. He fell, almost went out in the snow. Then went up the mountainside and jumped up into the sky. She started chasing him around and around and around. They changed it to the sun and moon. If you ever see the sun and moon at the zenith, at their flight, the height of the flight, they will not share the same sky. And that's why you should never treat a relative like that. That's Inupiaq legend. Thank you. I told that at the Evergreen Longhouse. About 20 years ago from me, told that story just like my grandma did, so good compliment. So should not treat your relative like that, yeah.
Thank you, Ed.
Mm-hmm.
Closing comments or thoughts as we near the top of the hour. I really do want to thank Ed again, and all of you for joining us today.
What did Eric say? If I could share what I didn't see his.
Yeah, Isaac Wolf said, I wonder if Ed could share a bit about the importance of repetition in storytelling. I appreciate how many times the same phrase is repeated in some stories, and I wonder about it.
That's why I was taught you repeat everything, because that's how we learn things, by repeating, you know. That's how children learn things, you know. Nursery rhymes, things like that, we learn by repetition. That's how we learn in life. We learn over and over again, you know. It's that's the way it is. Yeah.
And we had another question from Jim Weichel, and he said, first let me say, Niewe, sorry if I don't pronounce things well. Thank you for sharing these stories. I have a question. I come from the Haudenosaunee. We have some stories that we can only tell in the winter because if we tell them, the animals might think it is springtime. Do your people have similar stories?
Yeah, usually traditionally, trickster legends are only told during the wintertime. Trickster legends are only told during the wintertime. You know, yeah. Traditionally, yeah. Trickster legends only told during the wintertime. That's the time children were in the lodge a long time. The time when children learn how to cook, make clothes, make tools, and listen to legends that teach the lessons of life. That are only told during the wintertime, but that's been in the lodge a long time. That's what tradition used to be now. It's kind of changed. Yeah. Good questions, yeah.
Great questions in the chat box. Very, very good.
I can't see the chat box.
No, we got to work on that. Ed. Next time, we'll make sure you got the chat box.
Okay, yeah.
I have another one from Denise. She says, I work in a reservation border town school district. We have a native enrollment of about 60%. She said, we need to use ways of education that appeal to our students. And I think storytelling is a great way culturally to reach our students and will also appeal to our non-native students. Now that we are doing online instruction for a while, storytelling would be great. That's nice.
You can type in the URL Native American Legends. Native American Legends will come up in the URL, put Native American Legends, or you can get specific Native American Legend, Shoshone Bannock, or Crow, or Lakota. We'll bring up a series of stories like that. You can do that also with the children. Yeah.
And Deborah K asks, what tribe did the buffalo story come from?
That's from Lakota. Oh no. The one I told, that's Shoshone Bannock. My father told me that legend. Yeah. Yeah, my father told me the Shoshone Bannock legend. Yep. Good.
One more question, Ed. Susan Phelan asks, are there many levels of meaning to each story? Are there many levels of meaning?
Many levels of meaning, I'm not sure. Yeah, people can analyze it. I'm pretty much a simple guy. I try not to overanalyze it, you know. People can get really crazy analyzing stuff, like poetry. No, I don't think, for me, you can overanalyze poetry, you know. I like Christina Rossetti, I like Edgar Allan Poe, you know, I like classics, you know. I don't like opera, but Walt Whitman studied opera to make his lines of poetry longer, so maybe you could learn from it, you know. So yeah.
Well, maybe your message to Susan is we just need to keep it simple.
Pardon?
Maybe your message to Susan is we just need to keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it simple. Yeah.
Susan, write that down, would you? Make sure you keep that in your notes.
Thank you. I needed that. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Got one question here from Paula Carter. She says, my tribal community and citizens use humorous stories at times and sometimes in a teasing way. And I find that they help in resilience. Like if you can laugh at some obstacle, then it becomes minimal or shrunk down in size. Do you ever use humorous stories?
Yes, I worked at summer camp in 1986 in Coos Bay, and then if there was a conflict among the campers, we'd stop the event and stop what we're doing. We'd go find hand drums. Then we'd make them sing to each other while they're mad at each other. Turn into a big laughing fest, you know. Because when you introduce music and humor, it negates the conflict. And we used to do that. No matter what, we'd stop, go get hand drums, and make them sing to each other in front of everyone. Everyone would be happy. Everyone would laugh at the end. And it worked. You know, it worked. Yeah.
Well, we have about 5 minutes left. I, again, want to thank everyone for joining us today. We're going to try and meet again in a couple weeks. And what I'm hoping to do is invite Ed back if he'll do that. So
I'll do a couple of poems. About 8 years ago, I sent to Oregon History. I got a publication. There had been something. Sometimes a song, sometimes a whisper. Sometimes it appears to be animal, other times weeping I hear it. There's been something that disappeared from Mother Earth. I'm not sure what it was, but sometime at night I can hear it in the wind, or it comes to me in my dreams, like the smell of salmon cooking. I signed the rights over to the Santa Clara Pueblo. We put on a poster with Pablito Velarde to raise funds for the senior center. I'm gonna go, you have to feed me, I raise funds for you. Grandfather storyteller, I come to you with thirsty ears. Grandfather storyteller, weaving words of ancient strength. Words colored with ageless time. Words carried on warm, welcome wind. Words floated on rivers of purity. Grandfather storyteller, accompanied wisdom, wisdom that not yours alone. Wisdom you share, wisdom I shall pass on to the children. This was published in 1983 in Hamilton, New Zealand, in a collection called The Nation Within. They're still using it in schools. In 1997, it featured on Tremit, Poetry in Motion, on the maxes on the buses in Portland. In granite, it's that stone at Oregon State University. There's a long main library. To the right of the door is a long bench. This poem's in granite. You know what I like about that? That it didn't have to die first. There's much poetry at Poetry Granite, all dead white guys, not Indians or women. Indian education blues. I sit in crowded classrooms and learn how to read about Dick, Jane, and Spot. I remember how to get a deer. I remember how to beadwork. I remember how to fish. I remember the stories told by the old, but Spot keeps showing up, and my report card is bad. Thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can email me. The books are $10 a piece. I can send them to you. Okay, good.
Thank you very much, Ed. I want to again thank everyone for joining. Please take a moment to fill out the survey. Ed, would you like to close with a blessing, or I don't know if that's traditional for you.
This is a Nootka morning to bring fair weather. You whose day it is, get out your rainbow colors so that it may be beautiful. You whose day it is, get the rainbow colors so that it may be beautiful. You whose day it is, get out the rainbow colors so that it may be beautiful. You whose day it is, get out the rainbow colors so that it may be beautiful. Thank you for listening, everyone. Have a good day. Yeah. You're good. And I'm leaving.
Yes.
Hi, Ed. It's Natalie with Nora. We missed seeing you at Elders Lunch. I got some Kay's here. Kay was here.
Pardon?
It's Natalie with Nora.
Okay, yeah.
Hi, Ed. We missed seeing you at Elders Lunch. Kay's here.
Oh, yeah. You still have it? You still do it?
No, not right now.
I know, yeah. Okay.
But hopefully someday.
And
Yeah.
I'll exercise with you, Ed.
Kay's exercising, Ed.
Yeah.